Hello everyone, Shirley here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Mythic Prototype Pantheon. However, today I'm not going to be talking about the fight. I actually want to go over my thoughts of all the juicy goodness that we got yesterday, being the announcement of the new DragonFlight expansion. Big surprise, the leaks were true there. I just want to generally talk about it and go over, some of my thoughts and stuff. It's obviously taking place in the Dragon Isles. Finally, we get to see them. Interestingly enough, though, from the little bit of footage they showed off and what they told us about it, it didn't seem like it was a bunch of islands, even though that's the name. So we'll have to wait and see just how many land masses there are. But in Blizzard's words, it's a return to high fantasy. So, I'm happy about that. And hopefully we can stray away from all this cosmic stuff, at least for a while. The Titan Watchers are going to be back and playing a role in the storyline, so hopefully Stonebro is there and we get to, interact with him some and see where that goes. It's going to be 5 zones, one of which is just a new leveling zone for the new class and race combo that's coming out. A little on that later. It's kind of odd that they would dedicate an entire zone just to their starting experience. Hopefully it's not like the Cataclysm, Worgen Goblin zones that take, 5 hours to get through 10 levels that normally would take 20 minutes on any other class. We'll see how that goes down, though. Hopefully the zone itself is cool. But speaking of which, the new race is the Dracthyr, and it can only be a certain class called the Invoker, and vice versa. So, thoughts on that. The Invoker looks cool. I'm glad that it's finally we get a new ranged DPS after all this time. It's been a long time coming. Hopefully the gameplay is really cool. If it's anything like the Demon Hunter when it came out, it should be pretty good. I'm not really worried about that. Itching to get my hands on it, of course, and test it out. However, the Dracthyr race itself, I was a little bit disappointed in. I was hoping that they would have options to play other classes and not just the new one. Being tied to that one thing is, a little bit unfortunate, but, we'll wait and see. As far as the aesthetics of the race itself, they look alright. I was kind of hoping for, D&D Dragonborn, something a bit beefier, that way you could play like a warrior on it as well, but like I said, it's only tied to the one ranged DPS spec, so, it makes sense, I guess, that you can't have that. But, on top of that, the customization they showed for it looks cool. There's a lot of, different options they had. However, it didn't appear that the Dracthyr race itself could wear armor. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I didn't see anything. However, the humanoid form that you could transform into, like a Worgen, that had armor on. So, on top of that, they only showed off the human female model and the male blood elf model for the humanoid forms. Now, I guess it remains to be seen whether or not we can actually choose other races for that. I'm hoping that we can, and we're not just tied to those two things, but we'll have to wait and see, of course. But moving on, the other features coming out with this expansion, dragon riding is going to be one of the new features coming, and Blizzard recently confirmed in an interview that it's going to take the place of flying in the entire expansion, it seems, so there won't be any Pathfinder achievements. It's just going to be this new dragon riding feature, which basically is like a pseudo minigame as you're flying to maintain momentum and speed. Speaking of which, they also said that you'll be able to fly a lot faster using this system than you'll normally be able to, so that's exciting. I like, anything with a lot of movement is pretty fun. It's, they're not going to hopefully, carry that into everything and just completely get rid of normal flying with all your old mounts, but I don't know. It'd be okay if they brought our old mounts into the dragon riding system. That would be nice. But that's about all I got to say about that. We get a customizable dragon mount, I guess. That's going to be pretty cool. Hopefully there's a lot of options on that. I wonder if that's going to tie into any of the raids, now that I think about it. Get like an Oculus 2.0 riding around on dragons. Hopefully they do that right. If they attempt something like that again, we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of that, they didn't announce any, big bad guy for this expansion. My money's on Galakrond, or however you pronounce the big dragon's name. But he's so big that how would we fight him? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But on to the next features they're coming up with. The talent tree is getting an overhaul. That's pretty exciting. Looking at, the example they showed being Druid, I really want to see the Warrior one, of course, and, really dive into that. I'm hoping that it's not just copy-paste of the classic talent trees, which is like, Mortal Strike does 2% more damage. That's not very exciting. I'm fully expecting things like that to be in there. I'm just hoping that's not all that there is. I'm hoping that there's some actual depth to it and choices to be made. Even if it's as little as, like, a cooldown reduction on something, just small choices, but at least something that impacts gameplay. We'll have to wait and see on that. Speaking of which, hopefully I can get, into the alpha or the beta as soon as possible and take a look at those things. But the UI is also getting an overhaul, and as somebody who plays with, like, stock action bars all the time, that's exciting. I can finally move things around and get rid of these stupid griffins on the sides, hopefully, so I have more screen space. That's nice. A lot of people use add-ons, so it's not that big of a deal. Professions are finally getting updated. Hopefully that means that the profession crafting stuff will actually be usable in, like, actual in-game PvE, PvP content, maybe? If we can make, like, really good PvP gear for specific things, that would be cool. We'll have to wait and see. The new cosmetics that are going to be tied to that look nice. I haven't touched professions like a serious way ever since they got rid of the bonuses on, like, jewel crafting and blacksmithing, so we'll have to wait and see on that. Hopefully it's actually worthwhile, because otherwise I just can't be bothered to mess with professions. On other news, the PvP gear is getting a slight change. They are talking about tearing it back to, like, a WoD-style PvP system, where all Conquest gear will share the same item level regardless of what rating you are. I think that's great news. I don't like, even as somebody who can get up high rated and upgrade my gear to where it's not a factor towards me, it really gatekeeps people getting into PvP. If I have, 20 item level higher gear, Gladiator rating, for no reason, and they're getting into it and I just crush them because of a gear difference, I would much rather Conquest gear just be set across for everybody, no matter what your rating is. So if they do that again, that'll be great. They did say, however, the PvP gear will still be upgradable with Honor for its PvE item level, so there is carryover. I like that. I don't see any problems with that gearing system, so all thumbs up from me there. Other changes, Mythic Plus is getting a slight change. They're going to be doing what they're supposedly going to be doing in Season 4 of Shadowlands, being they're going to be cycling in old dungeons into Mythic Plus, and apparently that'll be that way on release of the DragonFlight expansion, being that it'll only have half of the DragonFlight dungeons in the pool from the get-go, and then they're going to have, like, 4 of those, and then 4 older ones, and then not halfway through the expansion, but the next season they'll cycle in the other 4 new dungeons. This is good news in the long run. However, I would say that, like, the very first season, I would like to just see all new dungeons, I guess, and then the sequential Season 2, Season 3, etc., then they can swap in half and half and go from there. That's the way I'd like to see the expansion launch, at least. But, yeah, that's about it for big news. There's no new borrowed power system or any kind of convoluted system announcements yet. We'll have to wait and see if they have tier sets and legendaries and all that jazz again, and how you'll acquire that. Which, hopefully, like I said, I can get into the beta and actually, test and provide some feedback on this stuff. But, in other news, Wrath Classic was announced. That's exciting, but I'm going to leave it there for today on that. Yeah, if you guys have any thoughts about the Invoker, the dragons, all that stuff, leave them down below. Thanks for watching if you got this far, and I will see you next time. Peace.